Letters to the Editor is an author-driven podcast created and directed by Enrique Stuyck Roma, a journalist, lawyer and entrepreneur from Madrid. Enrique holds a Guinness World Record for his letters to the editor and has had 10,000 letters published in 70 Spanish newspapers. In this podcast, we will read a letter a day for a whole year selected from his books Ocurrencias, Witticisms, Reflections on Life. The title of today's letter is We Cannot Live Without Some Poetry. Although the trials and tribulations of life do not make it easy for us to move forward, we must know how to focus on what matters in order to see the positive side of life. We must cheer ourselves on to find the necessary strength in the midst of all the different kinds of difficulties and sorrows that we experience, because life is not a bed of roses. It is precisely because of this, because of the problems we have to face, that we need to find the beauty in the small things, in the details, and it is in these that we find the garden of feelings, the poetic side of life. It is there, even in the very worst situations. So we must learn how to find our shelter from the storms, because life without some poetry is less of a life. This letter was published in 3 newspapers in December 2022 and April 2023.
Okay, maybe the title of today's letter is a bit of an exaggeration, because to say we cannot live without poetry is not reality. There are plenty of people who go through a life without ever thinking about the poetic side of life. But poetry and romance kind of go hand in hand. If you don't live with a bit of romanticism, you cannot really connect or appreciate poetry. It's true that today's world, with all the rushing, stress, emergencies and everyday problems, doesn't make it easy to slow down and feel emotions. But that's exactly when poetry can help. It lets us see life from a softer, more meaningful point of view, not just throughout the practical or material way. Yes, finding the romantic side of life can be tricky, but it is possible. We all have to work on letting the sensitivity we all have inside of us, to a greater or lesser degree, come to the surface, and be willing to find the poetic or romantic side of life, because without a doubt, it is always there, however hidden it may seem.
Discover more episodes at letterstotheeditor.com, and remember to subscribe and rate the podcast on your favourite platform. Podcast produced by Jorge Marín, EOB Productora. Letters translated by Ana Marchena. Branding and visual identity by Samuel Ferrer, Quinton Brands. Editing by Margot Martin. Readings by Susanna Galan.